I'm Joe Dillette, and I'd like to talk to you about the tools I use for marble carving. The thing that I like is this respirator, and it covers the whole face. It's your goggles, everything is included here, and it has the canisters that are filtered, and they also have the charcoal filter in. And I like to take and put a wet sock over it because that saves the cloth filter in here. I don't have to change that for about 4 days if I rinse the socks out about twice a day. So the dust is what really loads it up, and if you wet the sock, it's not hard to breathe through because you have a lot of surface area. And I wear a hat, and instead of jeans, I wear scrubs. It's a tighter weave clothes, and it doesn't trap the dust as much. And also safety shoes. So I use carbon steel for carving it mostly. I also use diamond cutters. To rough out the piece, I use an SDS drill. You can see how I made these long cuts in here with the SDS drill. And then I take the wedges and feathers and I split that off. And I also use the SDS drill as a chisel. It's a wonderful power chisel. So I take the chisel that comes with it. It has a chisel setting where it doesn't rotate. And I can put that on, and it has tremendous power. Right angle grinder, I use a thin diamond blade. So I can go in and I can slice, and then I can chip out between. And so these are sliced, ready to get chipped out, and this section here in the center. For the removing of this stock here, I use the carbon steel chisels that I just buy from the hardware store. These are for masonry work, and they're not carbide. They're just a carbon steel, but I sharpen them a little bit different. For the versatility, I sharpen them flat on one side, bevel on the other side, and it's sharpened to about a 30-degree angle. And I like to keep it very sharp. It'll make quite a few cuts before I have to resharpen it. Carbide has got a rounder point. If you went this sharp with carbide, it would be brittle and it would break the edge off. So I like that sharpness because it focuses the impact going in is much narrower, and it goes in deeper, so you don't have to hit it quite as hard. My mallets are just plumbing fittings, a reducer, and the nipple and the end to keep it from sliding off my hand. You need to put some welds on it, otherwise it'll break. Of the sharpness of the chisel, and it's still, you can, if you look at it, that edge is still pretty sharp. It's the stone dulls it down, sure, but it's very easy to sharpen. I'll show you how to do that. It only takes a minute, but to be able to focus the cut so to where you can get nice pieces off. This was one that I took off earlier, and it takes a sharp chisel to get one this thin and this long without breaking it. I've added weight to the mallet. I put in another reducer in the end here, all welded up, and it's this is probably about maybe a 4 or 5 pound. Okay, this right angle grinder works not only for trenching, cutting, slicing cuts in, but also for smoothing. I don't use riffler files. what I use is putty knives, and I sharpen them so they've got a burr on it. And for making scrapers, this is a knife. Just cut the knife off and I made it into a scraper. This is the traditional carver's air chisel, and it works quite well, except I don't like to use it. It uses these carbide tip chisels. The carbide is brazed on. The brazing is soft, tends to break off. If you like using these air chisels and you've broken tools before, what I recommend is you just go buy a 1/2-inch diameter rod of carbide, and then you just grind your own chisel in the end. There's no brazing, and it's fairly easy to shape. So you use a diamond wheel to rough it out, and then you use a silicon carbide wheel for finishing. The aluminum oxide wheel will not grind carbide. So that slips right in, and it works even better than the commercial chisels that you buy. This is one of my inventions, is taking the just a cheap pneumatic chisel, and I made a cup for the end. So the cup is just, I lined it with leather. It doesn't have to be lined with leather, but I like to use it for wood carving where I've got wooden handles that I hit, and the leather helps protect the wooden handle. But I can take a chisel like this and I can use this. It doesn't have near the power that the other one has, the traditional one has, but this works pretty good for some smoothing off project. I'm going to show you a sharpening, and this is the chisel that I've been using, hitting it pretty hard. It still has got a pretty good edge on it, but it only takes like a minute to sharpen it. This is an aluminum oxide wheel that works well on carbon steel. Now, bench grinders, you're not supposed to use the side of the wheel, but that's when you're spinning up around the high RPM. We're only going less than 400 RPM, so the wheel is not being stressed in centrifugal force, so it's okay to use the side of the wheel. And I've got a very nice, very keen edge back on the chisel. So I sharpen one side flat, the other side's about a 30-degree angle. I don't normally use a point when I carve. I use the corner of the chisel because it's carbon steel, it's quite durable. When I sharpen my scrapers, I go perpendicular. So I leave the tool perpendicular with the wheel, and I'm making a flat, and that forces a burr to go on both sides of the tool. Now I'm feeling a pretty heavy burr on both sides of the tool. So this scraper is very effective in scraping marble. See how rough it is here? See how quickly it smooths it off? Works almost as fast as a chisel. The material we are working with is Colorado marble. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching.